that I was working on. One of them was Poor Things. We made this little film in Greece between The Favorite and Poor Things. Short film, which is a silent film for the Greek National Opera, which was a very special experience. And I think, every time it doesn't, it just gets better in a way, and we just work better and better and communicate easier, and yeah, so here we are.
Emma, do you have a different answer, or is it the same answer?
It's pretty much the same answer, I would say. Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing thing to find somebody that you trust the way that I trust him as a filmmaker, and so just what is that? It could be anything. No, I guess I selfishly just, it's an incredible experience for me, and hopefully for him too. Yeah.
So Yorgos, I know that you're the one who found this story first, and you did years ago. What was it when you read the book that the script is based on that you're like, ooh, this tickles something in me?
Oh.
The microphone has a little hat.
I know.
I was looking, yeah.
It's like a shower cap. The book tickled something.
Yeah, what
Tickled.
tickled?
Tickled. Well, it was the main character, Bella Baxter. I just, like everybody in the novel and the film, like you fall in love with her immediately. And although the novel wasn't told through her perspective, it was, told through other people's perspective. They told her story. I just felt immediately that if I made it ever into a film, I wanted it to be her story and follow her and be through her eyes.
So when you finally brought it to Emma, how do you explain Bella Baxter?
Did I? What do you remember? You remember that? Well, I don't remember when I first told her about it.
He kind of just, well, like he was saying, he was talking about multiple things that he was thinking about and working on. So it was kind of a vague description of the story. And that I don't remember exactly what you said. But I remember you talking about a woman being reanimated and kind of living in a... You okay? Promise? Okay. He just kind of spoke about a woman being reanimated and the way that it affects all these people, specifically many men around her, and her own kind of journey, discovering all these things for the first time and growing really rapidly. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. And so we'll do that together and I'll play that part. But that wasn't why he was telling me about it, I don't think. I think he was just trying to have a conversation at dinner. So eventually, you came around to that idea. And I was completely obsessed just from kind of a vague description of it. And then that was like 4 or 4.5 years before we actually shot the film. So from then on, we kind of spoke about all the aspects of it and all the ideas that he had for the sort of vision of it.
You get to take her through every stage. How did you find Bella, especially in the beginning, when you are being like a newborn in an adult woman's body, and it's so funny and sweet and weirdly relatable, but what was the process for you being like baby Bella?
That was, we worked on it a lot, the physicality. He and I did it in rehearsals, and we also rehearsed with the other actors for 3 weeks, and so that's very helpful, obviously. But the beginning of Bella, I don't know, I don't think for either of us it was like a one-for-one comparison between like an actual human baby or toddler or something, because it was such a different sort of metaphorical, fantastical world that she lives in, and what she is. So it was really kind of like exploring it as it went along, and Tony wrote this incredible adaptation, and we were working from that. So much of the language obviously was there, and it was just sort of about how to physicalize it, and that was what we discussed mostly on a daily basis.
How did you find that walk? The walk in the beginning?
Trying a whole bunch of things, like he's sitting there and he's like, okay, go from there and walk like on the outsides of your feet. And we tried, and he's like, no, and then we tried a different way or whatever. And then we created kind of a staging system, stages 1 through 5, 1 being in her most kind of primitive, and 5 being her sort of fully evolved self that you see, you know, at the end of the movie. And the walk and the manner of speaking would sort of evolve with each of those stages. Just so we have like a reference point if we needed it.
It's sort of been funny to see that the film is being taken as a sex comedy, which I think is true, sort of, but I was curious about, did you ever expect that that would be what people are calling it?
People are really into talking about the sex stuff, I learned, now that I'm doing interviews for it. But I see, my opinion of it is it's a rom-com, but the romance is her with life. So, did I get it all?
Yeah. It's really successful.
Cool. I'll keep using that. That was the first time I've ever said that. But it really is true. I was thinking about it a couple of days ago, and I was like, yeah, because it feels, there's something so kind of beautiful about the way she sees the world. It's like that's what she's in love with, is life. And so sex is part of that. So is food. So is philosophy. So is travel. So is, you know, so dancing, so many things are a part of that. So, I don't know, that's how I see it. Rom-com. Whoa!
As she's on this journey, you guys go through all of these fantastical, wonderful worlds, but a lot of this was sex. Like you're not on a boat. Can you talk about that process? Because I know it's a little different for you.
Me?
No, Yorgos.
Oh, okay.
No, just the building these like big crazy sets, like especially like the Baxter house. It's gorgeous and it feels very real, but it's not.
No, it is. That was a real house.
That one was real.
Well, that was built, like a built house.
But it's okay.
Well, yeah, and then they
Well, in
knocked
that
it
sense,
down.
everything is real, yeah.
Yeah, but that one wasn't,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
that one wasn't a stage. That was actually like a structure that was a house.
All right. It was just outside.
Yeah, but it was still a house. Whatever, anyway, go ahead. It was his
No
turn.
toilet, we had to go somewhere else.
That's true.
Sorry. So yeah, well, from the beginning when I imagined making this into a film, I just thought that we should build everything in the studio. We should build everything inside, except the London house, which we built outside.
That was a real house. There weren't any toilets.
Because I thought that we should make a world for her to inhabit, that it couldn't be like totally realistic, and it would be much more interesting if the world that we built was a reflection of how she experienced it and how she saw the world. So it's familiar and it's a familiar period, but there's all these elements that tell you that it's not. And also the way we film it enhances that kind of feel, I think. So yeah, it was all about creating this world that would match her sensibility, her way of looking at things and discovering things.
They're not here with us, but could you talk a little bit about casting some of, mostly men, these wonderful men who inhabit Bella's, it's Bella's world. They're
And
living
some
in
great
it.
women.
And some great women, but I'm thinking especially like of Willem Rami, Mark, who I think we haven't seen any of these people like this before.
Yeah, well, casting for me is very instinctive in a way, and also I think a lot about the people that I want to work with, no matter what it is that I'm doing, and see if some of the people that I want to work with somehow fit into what we're making. And I try to not stay too rigid about, oh, but it was described on paper as, 35, blonde, whatever. If I want to work with someone who's 50 and it makes sense, we'll work with someone like that. And so it was, people that I really liked their work one way or the other, like Rami's, work. I'd seen his show and some of his stand-up, and I really liked him, and we met, and it was just a very easy thing to just say, let's just do this. Same with Gerald Carmichael. Mark, Willem just felt like the natural thing to do. Like I'm sure there's a part for Willem, and I think that's it, Baxter. Mark Ruffalo, it was, he's an incredible actor. I always wanted to work with him, and it also felt like because he has this other kind of sensibility compared to the character, very different, and this warmth that he has, and I just felt that he could obviously do the part and be very funny, but because the character is quite slimy and strange, he would kind of balance that out and add more layers to it and complexity, and it would be someone that, although someone terrible, you could still kind of accept him and even kind of like him and feel for him sometimes. And then there's Catherine Hunter, who's Swiney at the brothels, is an incredible theater actor, very physical. Susie Bemba, Chris Abbott, I always wanted to work with, and think he's great. And again, like for instance, Chris, we always had someone in mind, older for that part, but like when I was thinking about, the people that I wanted to work with, I said, like, why not? Like, he could be a younger, kind of. So yeah, it's just like people that we admire and want to work with, and we discuss it all with Emma as well, and we came up with a good bunch, I think.
I'd say so. Well, unfortunately, we have to cut this short because these two have somewhere else to be.
Okay.